Hello loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. I am finally bringing you guys the second video to the beginner nail tech series. I am so sorry that it took so long for me to bring this out to you guys. Unfortunately, I struggled so much with doing this video. I don't know why. I just couldn't get my thoughts together, and so finally I sat down and I made it work. Now, that being said, I am going to just mention a little disclaimer in there. I'm not a nail tech by any means that does things by the book. So if you guys do not agree with my methods, that's totally fine. These are just ways that I do my nails, and this is what has helped me throughout my nail tech career. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy this video and I hope you guys learn a ton, and let's get right into it. This is a 2 wet bead, the 2 dry bead, and just right bead. In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to create the perfect acrylic bead and how to maintain the consistency when it comes to size and powder to liquid ratio. Here I'm just showing you how I consistently make a medium bead of acrylic, a large bead of acrylic, and you can tell that the size stays for the most part exactly the same when I am doing this process. Now I'm showing you a small bead of acrylic. Again, consistently making it the same size. For this video, I am using the Not Polish acrylic powder in Nude Panther, the Young Nails Monomer, and my Kupa number 10 Divinity Sculptor brush. I do fully believe that you need very good products in order to have a good set of nails. So I do recommend these if you guys are looking into doing nails, or if you guys are just trying to expand your nail products. Look into these. These are so bomb. So getting right into it, we are starting off with our brush fully submerged into our monomer. And I'm just going to be showing you exactly the wiping motion that I use in order to take off the excess liquid of my brush. So we're going to dip into the liquid, tap it on the side. If you want a large bead, you're just barely going to get the tip off. And then I'm dipping it back in. And if you want a medium size, you're going to do mid brush and drag out. A small bead, you're going to do the full brush and drag that excess liquid out. This is super important that you understand the more liquid you have in there, the bigger the bead. So again, little to nothing is going to be a big bead. Mid brush is going to be a medium bead. And then the entire brush is going to be a small bead. So we are just going to start off with a small bead of acrylic, and I'm just showing you here, whenever the acrylic is settled a little bit lower than the rim, I like to have full access to that powder. So I want to have my brush angled just right instead of pointing it directly down into the container. So what I like to do is I'll take my top of that acrylic powder and just place it underneath, and that gives you a nice little kind of stand for your powder, and you can just angle it perfectly so you can access that acrylic. And I just tap it to one side and I will have full access to that powder. So going right in, I'm submerging my brush into the liquid, tapping out most of the liquid, and then tapping once. So you got your small bead. Again, fully drain it, tap once, and you got a small bead once again. Fully drain, tap once, and you will consistently see the same size of bead if you do it accurately. Whenever I do a medium-sized bead, I drain the liquid from mid-brush down, and then I tap twice. As you can see, the bead is slightly bigger. Now I'm just turning my powder so you can kind of see more of the angle of how I am getting that bead of acrylic. So again, mid-brush, tap twice, and you got your perfect bead. Once again, mid-brush, tap twice. And this does get easier once you get more practice. I do recommend you guys play around with your options, see what works best for you. Consistently tapping twice, the same size bead. And of course, when we are creating a large bead of acrylic, we do want to barely drain any of that liquid out of that brush. So I am lightly tapping my brush against my container and then tapping 3 times into my acrylic powder. So I'm going to submerge, lightly drain, tap, 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 and you got a large bead. Once again, tap, 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 and you have a large bead. I prefer the method of tapping versus dragging because I feel like you have more control over the size versus if you drag a little too long, then you're going to have a larger bead when you only wanted a smaller one. So like I said, just play with your options, see what works best for you. So for this next step, I'm going to be taking off the top of that acrylic powder and just moving it to the side so I can show you how I do it if I don't have need for that top. So I still have my powder kind of close to the rim, and then I'm just tapping once for a small bead, twice for a medium bead, three times for a large bead. And of course, if you need a tiny little bead, you just submerge your brush in there, drain a lot of the liquid out, and then just grab the tiniest amount of acrylic. Sometimes you just need to infill a little area of the nail. Now here I'm just showing you the difference of tapping and dragging your brush across the powder. For me, it does not work whenever I drag it. I just feel like the powder is not distributed evenly onto the brush, and it is a lot harder for the brush to kind of let go of that powder when you are trying to place it onto the nail. That's my personal experience. I know a lot of people do drag across the powder and it works perfectly fine for them, but just for me personally, it just does not work. So here I'm showing you how the bead is distributed onto the brush versus when you tap it, it is all contained towards the tip. And for me, I do think that it is easier if you do it towards the tip. So if you tap, it is all contained in a nice little bead towards the tip of the brush. And of course, do not fully dip your brush into it at a 90-degree angle. This will be chaotic and you will be having a hard time distributing that product and getting your brush clean. So another thing to take note of is you want to turn your brush after you submerge it into the liquid. So you're going to scrape off and then turn, and then you can tap into the acrylic. Scrape, turn it around, and tap into the acrylic powder. This is going to be key. You want to have full access to that liquid that is still left behind in the brush. And as you can see, that is where the liquid is at. So you want to turn and have full access to that. This will ensure that you have the perfect bead. If I am going in and just scraping and grabbing the bead, it is not going to work out. So here I'm showing you the correct way. And then if I just scrape and directly dip, you get a whole wonky bead. and it is distributed unevenly. So as you can see, some is on the opposite side, and that's because the liquid is trying to pull it up to where the liquid is at. So you want to make sure you're turning your brush around and grabbing the most product you can. So I am adding a little extra to this video. I clean my brush with acetone, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. It is very frowned upon because it is known to break down the bristles of your brush. However, I've had this brush for 3 years and I've never had issues with it. I feel that acetone is the only thing that cleans it out good enough for me, for my liking. Sometimes you'll get a bunch of acrylic stuck in between the bristles, and if you don't clean that properly, you're not going to be able to use that and have the perfect application process. So I just pour some acetone on it and fully drain it out, get all the gunkiness out, and I make sure this is fully dry before I put it up. Now, a way you can definitely condition your brush is just put some cuticle oil on it before you put it up, and you are good to go. So now in this next section, I'm just going to be showing you the downsides of the very wet acrylic bead. So I'm showing you how you cannot work with a very wet bead. This does get your brush very, very dirty, and you will also cause the acrylic to lift very quickly because it's not adhering properly due to the amount of monomer. You can see that there's acrylic left in the brush. Just a quick little interruption. I am proud to announce the start of the giveaways on my channel. I am super excited to be bringing these to you guys. That being said, subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you guys don't miss out. Make sure you guys are watching the entire video because I will be posting these giveaways in random section of the video. The first 20 people to comment down below in the comment sections what your favorite nail shape is, you guys will be entered into the giveaway. I will be picking a winner at random. Then I will be announcing that on my next video. So make sure you guys are tuned in. Do not forget to turn on your post notifications, and let's get right back into the video. You definitely don't want the acrylic to be running all over your client's fingers. You're going to have to do more cleanup. The acrylic isn't going to adhere properly. If you leave any tiny bit around the cuticle, it will cause lifting, so you definitely want to avoid that. So here I'm just showing you how it is to work with a very dry bead. So when I try to place it, it sticks to the brush. You can't get it off. And so this just creates extra work for you. Your brush is going to be needing cleaning every 5 seconds. Now for the perfect ratio, as you can see, I am able to place that bead without any struggle onto that nail tip. I am able to mold that and move it around as I please without it running into any of the cuticles or any of the edges. It does not leak anywhere, and it's also not super stiff to where I can't work with it. So I suggest you guys play with your options, see what works best for you, but make sure you guys are getting that liquid to powder ratio perfect. Now I'm just showing you again another bead of the perfect amount. And as you can see, I have full control of that product. I'm able to move it around as I please, and that is exactly what you want. Now, last but not least, I'm gonna let you guys watch me just create some more beads for you guys. You guys can kind of have a little recap on how I do consistent beads. And that concludes this video. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more nail beginner videos. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.